Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Fulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman, my partner. David, welcome.
Thanks so much, Michael.
And thank all of you also for watching our programs. With this, we want to talk about, do you want to still mention about the Teaneck Film Festival?
I have a couple of quick announcements for our
viewers.
Yeah.
Film Festival.
Well, first of all, the Teaneck Film Festival, which is going to be held in November, it's an annual event, and this year the NPZ Law Group is going to be sponsoring the movie Ram Leela, which is a Bollywood hit. Many of you have seen it. It's the Bollywood version of Romeo and Juliet. If you're interested in the exact date of the movie, the screening at the in Teaneck, I believe it's going to be on the Sunday of the International Film Festival. It'll be at the Teaneck Cinema on Cedar Lane in Teaneck, and please go to the website Teaneck International Film Festival, and you'll be able to buy tickets. We encourage you, of course, if you're interested, to buy a package which will give you the opportunity to visit all of the movies. There are actually many different sites and many movies going on all weekend long, and an opportunity to mix and mingle with friends and people who have kind of been at this for many, many years, and as we have. So we, of course, invite you to join us at that event. So that's first and foremost. I'd like to make a couple of announcements, if it's okay, Michael, about
sure.
Some things that happened over the summer that unfortunately we hadn't mentioned in some earlier programs to our viewers. But the first one is that in August, AILA had a meeting with Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and at that meeting it was kind of interesting. One of the developments was that a CBP representative had admitted that there were some flaws in the database. So what that does is it leads us to encourage our viewers and their families and friends to be absolutely sure that you print out the I-94 when you get to the United States and just check it for accuracy. Because apparently what they're saying is that there are inaccuracies in the system. Now, of course, if there's an inaccuracy, you have the ability to go back to the port. In other words, that when you came out of that international part of the airport, you can go back up and you can talk to the Customs and Border Protection officer, and he or she has the authority to make a modification if the information on your I-94 is wrong. So there is a possibility that that information could be wrong. Now, if you're looking for a full list of your travel, which you're able to get at www.cbp.gov/I-94, if you print out your whole travel, your travel history, and you notice that that's incorrect, what CBP is saying is that what you should do is apply for a Freedom of Information Act request, and then that should be the way that you get an accurate result of your travel. So basically what we're led to do, unfortunately, is to go use FOIA, which does take some time.
So why doesn't the CBP fix the problem?
Well, they're trying, but it's an imperfect system. Unfortunately, like every other system, it takes time to make it perfect. And so they're saying, though, if you want accurate information, maybe look to FOIA for that accurate information. Now, why are people wanting their travel history? Well, of course, if you're H-1B and you're trying to recapture time, that's a perfect opportunity. Your travel history gives you the ins and outs, and that might be a reason why you need that information. So that's why it's critical that it's accurate. So if you're counting up your time and you're printing out from the I-94 database and there's an inconsistency, then unfortunately you have to look to FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, as a way to rectify that situation. So that was number one. Number two, also, I think many individuals who were involved in getting stampings at the consulates during the summer were aware that the database went offline, and unfortunately there were tremendous backlogs. We're still hearing that these backlogs are being cleared out. The Department of State is reporting that they are back to processing visas on a regular basis. The previous way that they were doing it before the database problem. However, from a practical standpoint, we're finding that there are still tremendous backlogs on 221Gs and also on processing. processing times from cases that were pending back then. So that was also something that was going on. Another thing that we've recently found in our practice, which I want to bring to everyone's attention, is that on the I-140s that are being filed after the PERM is approved, the USCIS seems to be going at the through the I-140, issuing an RFE and questioning the underlying PERM application. So what they're doing is they're questioning things like the qualifications of the individual and so what the individual probably had on their resume. So just be mindful, and we always try to advise our clients to give us letters proving that they have actually done the work that they say that they've done in order to qualify them, let's say for an EB2 case. So you have to be vigilant, because now USCIS can possibly challenge whether or not that's accurate, those representations are accurate through the I-140 process. So those are just a couple of the announcements. Now, I know that, Michael, you have many inquiries, of course, from our viewers. So let's take a couple of questions from our viewers, and maybe we can help them out with some of the answers.
This is happening to be a common question these days. This is a gentleman, he came on a visitor visa, and his Indian passport has expired. He has been living here illegally, you can say, overstayed for quite some time, and finally he found a nice, pretty American citizen woman who wants to get married. But when he went to the marriage department, the Bureau of Marriages in City Hall, they want to see a photo ID. Now, he has a photo ID, that passport, which is expired. But they are insisting, no, you should have a valid passport or a valid photo ID. So this person is a lot of people like this, I'm saying. He goes back to the Indian consulate to have his passport renewed.
Right.
And their policy is that if you do not have a legal status, then we cannot renew your passport. Now, the answer to the question is, first of all, on the side of the Indian government or the consulate, it's probably a policy decision. As a lawyer, of course, I'll argue that every Indian citizen has a right to a passport, and whether the person has a legal status or not has nothing to do renewing the passport. As a matter of fact, there are a number of other consular posts that they just renew it even if they have issued their own passport, like let us say issued the passport 3 years ago here, and now that is expired, but they don't have a status anymore, they lost their status. So this is one of the problems that we will try to get it resolved through by meetings with the consulate, and maybe sometime in the future, if we can succeed in some way, we can give you more information on what can be done. But the option there is right now, number of other states in the USA, they don't require this current ID.
Right.
I mean, it
can be expired.
I had actually a client a few months ago, and I looked around in the website, and he found Vermont. He went to Vermont, and there's no question they issued the marriage certificate.
So I had this actual issue come up with a client many years back, Michael, and what I did is I went into the somewhere on the web, I can't remember, but it's in, I think, either the Foreign Affairs Manual or some provision of the law actually allows for automatic extensions of passports that are invalid.
No, you're talking about U.S. passports.
No, other countries.
They cannot make the law.
No, what they do is they say that that if there's a provision of the law which specifically says that.
David, I understand you. You're talking about adjustment of status or some application in which the passport is expired. Here, it is the Bureau of Marriages.
Oh, and they're the ones who are making that decision.
They are saying that we cannot give you a marriage certificate, cannot marry you unless you have a valid passport. Is valid.
Well, what I've done is I took the provision, and what I did is I had that provision, they took it in hand to the state, and they showed them that provision in the law, and they said, okay, so we recognize it as being in, but the thing is, I think that maybe it was also because the passport wasn't that long overdue. Yeah. So this may be a case where the individual has his passport maybe way expired for a long time. Yeah. So that might be the different circumstance. Yeah.
All right. Another question is from somebody who came to US on a visitor visa, overstayed for many years. Many of our clients have overstayed. And he was working in a wine store. And one day the ICE people came in looking for somebody else, not him. But that person wasn't there, so whenever they come, they say, "Who are you? Show me your ID." And of course, he was illegally. So they put him in deportation proceedings and issued an ANTA as notice to appear. His question is that his hearing is scheduled in March of 2017.
Right.
So he is worried, is that a mistake or is that something happening really? And based upon this question also, I found out that there's a heavy backlog of the deportation.
Backlog, tremendous.
And this is like perfect, this is happening. Most of the cases, 16, 17, or maybe soon 18, but you should be happy.
Exactly.
You should be happy that you have another few years to stay legally in the country.
That's right.
And also see what happens. You should not, this another 2017, you got another 3 years.
Well, it gives
the law can change, administrative can change, things can take, don't worry.
Married to a U.S. citizen.
Married to a U.S. citizen, sure.
Or you could be the victim of a certain crime, and it gives you the opportunity to apply for a U visa. So there's what Michael is saying.
Or there may be changes in the law, or administratively, Mr. Obama may come with something.
Exactly. So what Michael is saying, he's saying two things which I think are really important. The first thing, which is super important for you to understand, everyone thinks that once you get an NTA, you have to react immediately. The answer is that it's better to get a delay, and that's what removal lawyers do, is that they spend time getting delays of these cases, and that's why they have several master calendar hearings, and they're happy when the dates for the individual hearings are pushed out, because delaying gives you the opportunity to build your case. It gives you time to make a case. Circumstances in the country may change that you don't know about, and it may give you a good claim for asylum, which you can make through as a defense in a removal proceeding, or you could end up meeting and marrying a U.S. citizen, or you could also, I mean, who knows? There are any number of benefits that could be available to you. So delaying is a good tactic. So while people do get nervous when they get served with the NTA, they shouldn't be reacting immediately. They should be looking at it as an opportunity to be able to build their case.
So I was saying this in Hindi.
Perfect.
आराम करो, मस्त रहो, ऐश करो, चिंता मत करो, जो भी होगा आगे कुछ ना कुछ बनेगा. तो इसलिए I want to say in Hindi that something will happen. Just take your mind at peace, go to sleep, enjoy, have fun in life. Something will work out. Don't be too much nervous about this thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. You mentioned about the U visa. So this question is coming to you on a U visa here. There's a person who came illegally in the US.
Mm-hmm.
He is working in a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago, there one or two people came with the guns and asked him for the money. And the wrong thing he resisted. He wanted to fight it. As a result of which, one of the guys shot him in the foot. He could have taken his life. He could have died.
I have two clients who lost their lives fighting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So shot him and they took the money and ran away. So he says, somebody was telling me that there's something like a U visa that I may be able to get.
Absolutely.
And that's a good moment here for you to explain to people that this person should be able to. It's a good case. He has been shot.
It's a great case.
Great case.
I mean, it's a shame that it happened, but it's a great case for a visa.
Exactly.
Right.
So go back.
So
Go back to different subject.
I'll just quickly explain that a U visa is for victims of certain crimes. Certain crimes can obviously happen both in the personal context and also in the business context. This one happened in the business context where a person came in to a gas station, the worker was shot, and so obviously there's going to be a police report, there's probably an investigation, and obviously there are going to be hospital records. So all of this documentation, and what we probably would do is this individual may, because of post-traumatic stress syndrome, be going to a therapist, and if not, we would probably have them see a therapist to get additional documentation to explain how this event affected their life. And so we would put this forward.
You said it's a sad thing.
It's a sad thing.
Good in a way.
Exactly.
So that reminds me of something else.
A blessing and a sin.
Something else reminds me, which is not related to this question, is a person, citizen file for his daughter, F3, marriage. She got a divorce, right? So they were very much worrying, crying. And I said, yes, I'm sad also that you got a divorce, But there's one advantage coming out of this. When the divorce took place, you became single, and your category is now changed to F1 at that time, and that is now current, and you can get a green card now within.
Exactly. So and the big picture is everyone's case is different, every circumstance is different, and don't look at it as a cookie cutter. Circumstances in your lives that affect your immigration status, they could be beneficial to you. Michael, I think we're running out of time, so we have to wrap up
So
today,
next time when we come back, you got to talk about the U visa a little bit, and so that this is very clear to them, because more and more people are coming to know. It's new to many of people.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that in the next program. Thank you very much, David, for being on the program.
Thank you so much, Michael.
And thank all of you for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Saturday and Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thanks so much. Bye now.